Welcome to the Gfinity Arena, the home of the Elite Series, where the regular season is poised to come to its conclusion. In CSGO and in Street Fighter, the playoff places have already been confirmed. But there is one last chapter to go in Rocket League. Infuse, Method and Epsilon will all be returning next week for the Rocket League playoffs and the chance to be crowned Elite Series champions. But who will be joining them? Earlier, Superstars Envious faced the leaders Infuse, knowing only a win would keep their chances alive.
Waffle there goes to the pass up. Mount sees that in the centre.
So it's just reliability on everything they do.
Oh no, what miss! Oh, that's such a shame.
Caster's curse.
Caster's curse.
Oh, what? Waffle.
Such a nice delay.
Waffle with the delayed 50-50 then.
This will be Infused's first loss of the entire Elite Series.
So, a convincing 3-0 win for Team Envious over Team Infuse moves them into fourth, the last playoff spot. But will they be staying there? Endpoint and Epsilon will provide the answer, along with Shogun and Gregan, of course, who are going to be around in the building. But these gentlemen right in front of me right now are Cole and Stumpy. So, gentlemen, what's going to be happening in this last match? It was such a great way to end the day, isn't it? Because it's still in the balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Infuse, Epsilon and Method are all going to be watching this, hoping that XL can cause an upset against Endpoint. But we'll see if it happens. It's going to be a long, hard road for them to do just that, I think.
Yeah, I'm sensing doubt in Cole's voice there, Stumpy. Is there any doubt in your voice?
No.
There is, yeah, I can hear it.
There is, sorry, my bad. No,
lied to Tom, Stumpy.
Sorry, Tom, I said I'd never do that.
But we've seen a mixed bag from Endpoint in terms of their performances. It's been up and down. 1 minute when you think they should be winning, they lose to Reason and give them their first win of the whole Elite Series. So surely they just have to put XL to the sword.
I mean, you'd think, but at the time, Reason were very much bottom of the table. And now you've got XL, another team at the bottom of the table. I don't know if they're going to be able to upset Endpoint as much as Reason did, because that was phenomenal. I spoke about it a couple of times. Ah, it was so good.
Such a good
series,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and I like the fact we're all wearing our badges today, so we wear those with pride.
And mine's upside down.
Oh, well, mate, sort it out. Come on, we're live. Listen, there is huge pressure on Endpoint then. Last week, it seemed to get to them, but other weeks, the smiles and goals have flowed in equal measure. The question is then, which Endpoint will we see next?
Endpoint. And where do Endpoint go from here?
Endpoint's destiny is still in their own hands.
Now, all of today, we've been asking you guys online who you think is going to make it through to the players. Will it be Envious and will it be Endpoint? Now, I'm here with Talacto, who's actually a sub for Method who played earlier today. What's your opinion? Do you think Envious can go through or do you think Endpoint are going to seal the deal?
Well, it all comes down for XL playing against Endpoint, whether they can pull it out. Now, I do believe in miracles. This is quite a miracle. And, like, Wrong Way Woody is my Lord and Saviour. But it's really difficult to say. I'm praying that they can take a game. I'll be so happy if they take a game. Look out for Woody's fakes. It's his very tactical misses of the ball. They're actually tactical misses. He's not just missing, trust me. But it might take a miracle, yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, most people online think that Envious will go through to the players, and whopping 68% voted for Envious going through, so Endpoint really are going to have to prove them wrong today. If you want to get in touch with us, make sure you do so at Gfinity on our Twitter. Use the hashtag Elite Series.
I believe in miracles. I believe in you. Talacto, what a speaker. I tell you what, I think he's going to be vying for your jobs, gentlemen. Although he is a Method player and will be joining us next week because Metsonoris and Magnus are going to be away. So we're going to see his chops a little bit more in proceedings. But there you go. You have it. The people have spoken. 68% reckon Envious are going to do this. But it's out of their control now. They've done their bit, but it's up to Endpoint to...
Well, I was going to say, by extension, 68% of people think that XL are going to be Endpoint, which is a bold claim, people. We'll see whether it's correct. I'm not so sure, Tom.
Yeah, no, I don't think we are sure, but as we've seen, you know, even when we thought Reason weren't going to get that win, they did last week. So listen, there is the table. The stable, there are all the horses. They're ready to go. What will happen? Which horse out of Endpoint or Team Envious will get that 4th place?
I am going to go with Endpoint on this one. I think they're going to... I don't think they're going to fall to XL. They're not the strongest team, as I've seen. They're at the bottom. And currently XL, they're just fighting not to be on their own last. Like, the only thing they can do here is if they win, then fair enough, they're above Reason, that's fine. If Endpoint win, they need to take it to 5 games to then get 1 point to then not be dead bottom of the table. They'll then be drawing with Reason at the bottom. So yeah, my thought is it's going to be Endpoint.
Okay, well, I mean, the results that Endpoint have had throughout the season, we can see them now, actually. But the thing is, with Endpoint, they should have won last week, you know, because it was there for the taking, and they let it go. They were 2-0 up, and they let that lead slip. So we can see anything from Endpoint. At one point, they couldn't even score goals. Now, I'm being told that that's vital in Rocket League, as it is in any sport. You need to score goals.
Help, yeah.
So there the lads are. Chacaron looking away, always looks away from the camera. You'll never see his eyes, actually. Look out
You'll
for that.
turn to stone.
You will indeed. He's basically Medusa. And then you've got Cheerio and Tinny. They play with confidence. When they're confident, the smiles come out. But if XL can get maybe that first game, then they'll lose that confidence.
As soon as Endpoint believe that XL can beat them, it's when they're going to maybe start to struggle. As they go into this game, they'll be very confident that they're going to win, and they're going to win 3-0.
Yeah.
If XL don't follow that script and do get the first game or do even get a few goals, that could suddenly change, and then we could see another collapse like we saw last week.
Okay, I mean, they look, in their picture of Endpoint, when they came along for the media day and everyone had their photos taken, they're not a happy bunch because they don't like to smile, because that's how serious they take Rocket League.
Chacaron's hugging himself as well, which is, I mean, that could be quite telling for his performance.
That is an interesting folding of the arms.
It's very interesting. It's a new tactic.
It's a cheeky arm fold with a slight hug as well included.
I like it. It's tender. It's tender.
That's right. What is the role of Chacaron on that team? Seeing as we've gently joked about his arm positioning in a nicest way, because they are lovely, lovely lads, and they know that we like, let's have a joke with them. But what is the role of Chacaron and Cheerio and Tinny? They're
all jack of all trades. I think that's the thing. They will happily take up the defensive role. They'll take up the passing role. They'll take up the striker role. They will happily do anything, which can lead to very, very strong rotations. Because it doesn't just mean, oh, right, we need Cheerio up front to be able to finish. Oh, we need Chacaron in defence to be able to save these shots. They are happy to just send it to each other. They don't care who's up, just as long as someone is. And that is such a strength for them. Yeah. So that could really, really help them out today.
A man who likes to take a shot pretty much all the time and not necessarily get the goals, but when he does start to get the goals in, Cheerio looks like one of the elite players, but sometimes his shots are somewhat wayward.
Well, we heard Gregor mention earlier that shots lead to goals. If you take a long shot, especially if there's a keeper in Rocket League, you're very rarely expecting it to go straight in. You won't see too many goals coming in where there's a keeper behind the line waiting to save it. But what that does do is if the keeper doesn't get a perfect clearance, if the keeper doesn't knock it into the corners, the ball goes straight up and you want your teammates swarming in to get that second ball. So I think often when Cheerio does take these shots, he's not necessarily looking to score. It's more hoping that his teammates are going to follow up.
That was a lovely playing it to yourself there off the back wall, which we don't see often.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
But also, with Cheerio, 38 saves there so far in the Elite Series in the tournament. They're a team that sit back quite deep, and sometimes it's counter-attack. But then, would you say they're quite a pacey team? Is that how they try and convert on the counter-attack to get those goals? Or just are they under the cosh a lot and having to sort of dig in deep and then hope for the odd goal?
I think they're very reactive in how they play. So if the opposition is incredibly attacking, like we've seen from some of these teams here, if they're very attacking, they're then going to sort of turtle up a little bit, and then as soon as they see like 2 players overcommit, or if they see the 3rd player miss, then they're just going to swarm. They're really just going to go in and hopefully they can get a goal. Or if the other team is sitting back and they're being more turtley, they're then going to be trying to swarm on top of them. So they're very, very reactionary players.
Now, a team that have lost I'm not laughing. 0-3, 0-3, then another 0-3, then another 0-3, then another 0-3. So that's 5 0-3 losses in a row. Is this team right in front of you right now? You've got Woody, you've got AFN, and you've got Senzus. So really, what you've got there is a team that finally need to get not just one, but 3 games, which they haven't done since week 1.
Well, the thing about XL is that they have got absolutely nothing to lose. They can go up on that stage with absolutely no pressure, and they can relax into it. They can just enjoy being in front of this crowd, being up on that stage playing some Rocket League. Endpoint can't afford to do that. If Endpoint for a second slip up or for a second set their foot off the gas, they're going to be in trouble. So maybe that's how XL can do this. Maybe they can use this lack of pressure that they have to allow them to just play a little bit more.
Yeah,
Endpoint are able to.
Well, of course, they're building for season 2. You are kind of in the shop window of other organisations coming in, maybe nabbing you. But lovely lads, though. AFN, chatting to him, such a lovely bloke. There's going to be no smack talk. There's going to be no talking.
I hope there is.
I want there
smack
to be.
talk.
We want smack talk. But,
Yeah.
but he's such a lovely bloke that last week when he was playing Team Infuse and we spoke to him and said, what do you think? And he went, well, we'll hope to get a couple of goals. Like, do you know what I mean? But we want him to be fired up today.
I did tell him backstage that I want to hear some smack talk. He was playing with Woody on the computers back there, and I was saying, right, I want you to come out, and I want you to just put the other team down. Be rude.
Yeah.
Don't like, go way too far.
Okay, within reason. You know, it's a lovely live audience here. We don't want any.
Right, calm down.
Calm down. So, look, do you know what I'm going to do?
It gets like this sometimes.
I'm going to bring them out, and we can start cheering and quieten his mic down for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Endpoint, you have Cheerio, Tinny, Shakaron, and for XL, you have AFN, Woody, and Senzus.
Endpoint and XL, the last game of the day. Now, we keep hearing which Endpoint are we going to see today? Which Endpoint are we going to see today, Shakaram?
The calm one that's not going to throw.
It's not going to throw, they're not going to choke, and you're going to win this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want any more surprises like we did last week. That was just too much.
No, although Reason did 100% deserve that.
Aw, I like that. Good sportsman. XL, have we got what it takes to beat Endpoint today?
I personally feel really tired at the moment, but last game they played, they lost to bottom of the league in Reason Gaming.
Okay.
Now we're bottom of the league.
That was such a surprise to me. So I'm actually a little bit tired today, but I'm going to try my best. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll try my best.
And you said it all with a massive smile on your face. I love that. Well, for Endpoint, it really is all to play for.
The 8 franchises that make up the Elite Series are competing in Street Fighter, Counter-Strike, and Rocket League, as well as in an overall franchise championship with a prize pool of £75,000. Franchises win points for every game they win in the Elite Series, regardless of the game, with 1 point awarded for each individual victory. Should a team win 2 games in a weekend, they are awarded a bonus point in addition to the 2 points won for winning 2 games. Should a team win all 3 of their games across a weekend, they will be awarded 2 bonus points in addition to the 3 points won for winning 3 games. So, the maximum return on an individual weekend could be 5 franchise championship points. The teams are ranked by the total number of points won.
So as you can see, there is 3 sports, but here we are all about Rocket League. So much so that the gentleman to my right-hand side, Shadow, has flown all the way in from Portugal, haven't you?
Yeah, indeed, I have. I've been here for a couple of days, and since, it's Rocket League time, so I decided to come here to London and watch the games.
Who or what team are you supporting?
I'm supporting Doomsy. I'm his #1 fan, obviously, so everyone loves Doomsy, so I have to support him as well.
What is it about Doomsy? He's got such a charm, hasn't he? Everyone loves Doomsy.
Yeah, he is the best guy in the pro scene right now. He's just such a lovely guy, so it's impossible to not cheer for him.
And do you think Infuse can win the whole series?
Honestly, it's gonna be hard. I feel like Method is trying to make them the life hard, but I think they can do it.
Okay. Well, Talacta, you are actually a sub for Method. Do you see Method going on to win this series?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Why? Tell me why, because you're a man who knows Rocket League inside and out, so tell me why.
It's just consistently over time, especially the main Method roster has just been that bit faster, and the Infused roster, it's just not the same level of quality. And even if the main Method roster won't always play, even their subs are quite good at the game, as I can tell you.
I love that. Props to yourself.
No problem. It's just, yeah, even like games like this to decide who's going to playoffs are massive for the individual teams and even the franchises across the whole Elite Series. But when it comes down to the finals of the Rocket League, Method are the best team on paper, and now that they've started performing, it's going to be hard to beat them.
Now, we've just seen Endpoint and XL. XL, if they beat Endpoint, then Envious go through. Endpoint really need to win. And as mentioned, we've seen two very different teams from Endpoint, one that always win and one that lose quite badly. Do you think they've got what it takes to do?
Yeah, it could only get scary if in any particular game XL managed to get a sneaky goal, because when you concede a goal against a team that you should quite comfortably beat, it can be quite tilting quite quickly. But apart from that, yeah.
Who are you calling then?
It really should be Endpoint.
Well, there you have it. Talacta saying Endpoint. We'll see for ourselves.
So, it's all to play for. Endpoint need to get this win to secure that playoff spot. And XL are playing for a bit of pride here. Now, before we sort of, when we saw the players, Shakaron, I think he sums up what esports is all about for Rocket League. How lovely he was to talk about Reason. In any other esports, you get sort of trash talk, but there's a mutual respect around the league of different players. And we've seen some fantastic plays so far. I love these boys, Cheerio and Tinny and Shakaron. When we saw a video of them living in their house in Sheffield. But listen, I want to put that out of your mind. Don't be swayed by what I think is going to happen. Gentlemen, who do you think is going to win this one today?
In the words of Talacta, who's going to be taking my job, it really should be Endpoint. I can't see XL winning this.
Okay, there you go.
Endpoint need to win, and I really do think that they can to get above Envy. So I'm going to go, probably it's going to be a 3-0 Endpoint.
Okay, now there's some people in the audience who have got a lot riding on this, particularly the Endpoint manager. There he is. There is sweat on his forehead. He is nervous, as he should be, but he seems confident as well. So listen, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. I'm going to do this action. I'm going to throw it across. Gregan has caught it beautifully. Absolutely. I wasn't expecting that, but he is a cricketer as well. So listen, Gregan, Shogun, gentlemen, how do you see this match going? Be honest with me.
That was an incredible catch. I actually dropped a catch yesterday when I played cricket.
No!
So we won't talk about that anymore.
You brought it up.
I think it's going to be Endpoint, mainly because they've looked strong in every other week, and this XL team, they're not as strong as previous XL teams, I would suggest.
I mean, it's very difficult for us to hype them up when they don't want to hype themselves up.
Yes.
It can definitely make it very difficult. I hope that they've got some underlying sort of ego to them. That means that they're going to be able to pick this up and really take this. First game is probably going to be the most telling. If this is really heavily one-sided in Endpoint's favor, hate to say it, but I don't see much changing. However, if we can see something from XL here, a little bit of oomph to this squad, maybe we'll have an upset on our hands. Crazier things have happened in Rocket League.
Yeah, that's true. And to be honest, Wrongway Woody is someone who's very pessimistic about his own play, but actually can be very talented at moments of pure faking brilliance. That's what he's known for.
Yes, some teams very good, or some players very good across a series, but can be up and down. Wrongway Woody will be good across a minute, and then he might be bad for the next minute. He will change it as and when he feels like. As you see the early pressure here going on the side of Endpoint, but they have got Zenzus here, and Zenzus I feel is going to be the key player for XL. If he can turn up and play, he can definitely set up the brothers, the Nunn brothers themselves, Woody and AFN, to potentially do something themselves.
Yeah, Nunn being their second name, not that they're Nunn.
Oh, they're not going to do anything.
No, but Zenzus is, as you mentioned, a very good player. He'll be looking, especially in the future, in Season 2 of the Challenger Series, he'll be looking to find himself a team, the Swedish man himself. But then to talk about Endpoint, you've got Tinny and Cheerio, who have just got that long story of playing together, but it's going to be XL who get the first goal. AFN sneaking it in the near post.
Do not settle on AFN. This is a man that really knows what he's doing. He's been winning tournaments ever since Start VC.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day, but that is experience nonetheless. And that is a big first goal for Excel, not in terms of how it might play for the rest of the game, but in terms of confidence. And Endpoint, they know what happened last week. We don't have to remind them that they lost to the worst placed team in the league at the time. Yeah, they'll know.
I mean, Reason did play well last week. That is fair to say. It was Shakeron in the interview earlier on who mentioned that he thought they should have lost because Reason actually improved. But this is a different team. XL are a little less quality than the Reason team as individuals, I would suggest. It's AFN and Woody who we're going to ask the questions at. How are they going to be able to perform on a stage in a different environment? They haven't had much experience of that.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I'm being overly harsh to Woody when I say he can play from anything. From a top 100 player to a gold player.
I mean, top 100, that's very kind of you to suggest.
I'm being very nice.
That is.
Those fakes, man.
Yeah, so
they're marvelous.
We talk about these fakes. So Woody is very good at missing the ball, but in situations where that's the right thing to do. And it puts off top players so much because they're expecting you to hit it. The whole idea of Rocket League is you react to what you expect people to do.
Oh, Zenzus. Great accuracy on that shot, and Excel. I don't think we need to hype them up anymore. They are showing it on the pitch.
That's a beautiful shot. Look at that accuracy. The final moment, air rolling his car to guide it down to the bottom left side of the net where there was no one covering it. And Endpoint will have to start looking at their defense. Where are these gaps forming? And let's block them up. Let's not let them shoot in those areas.
Well, so far, Endpoint definitely dominated the opening minute. But ever since then, Excel have done such a great job of finding spots to exploit. And that defense has held on very strong. As Endpoint, pretty much every single time, just try to hit and hope that they can get a free follow-up. Excel's defense is much stronger than that. Woody is now going to go barreling off. He's gone for a demo that I don't think would have made any difference anyway. Needed to play the ball instead.
There's one of those classic fakes. It runs in the family. AFN is more than capable of faking the ball. But this is vital now. This is giving XL the confidence, but that's not the important thing here. All the pressure is on Endpoint now, because they're the ones who need to win this game to get into the playoffs. So they'll be thinking about every moment and whether it will get them through, and that will affect their gameplay.
As you can see right there was the opportunity to pass that one over to the Woody. But XL will now be prioritizing defense. Don't expect them to put more than 2 players forward. As we've already seen from some teams today, just what can happen if you can get a little bit too offensive whilst you've already got a lead. Excel will certainly not want to do that. As they keep that ball up high. Very smart play, actually, just to keep long looping clears away from Endpoint, because it takes so much time to put that ball back into your opponent's half. And the longer Excel can do this, they waste more and more time.
Yeah, it does give you time to recover and collect that boost. They'll be thinking, as a team, how much boost do we have? And every time a member collects 100, it really changes that offset that you can accumulate when you do too much offense over and over again. You start to slowly grind down your team's resources, but it doesn't look like XL are doing that. It looks like they're kind of going for one touch and leaving.
And Endpoint right now, pretty much fighting fire with fire, which is not the best idea. Still going for those long hits, which is effectively going straight into an awaiting XL defense that is already prioritizing a defensive strategy. You need to now start controlling this ball, lads, rather than expecting Excel to make a big mistake.
Oh, that's a great touch from Zenzus. But yeah, what you're saying is they're just hitting the ball at a defensive team, and that's what they want you to do. They're waiting for that ball in their own half, and they need to make passes like that. Cheerio off the crossbar down, and Endpoint now looking dangerous. Shakeron comes booming that one in, 30 seconds left. This could be their opportunity to come back.
A quick change in strategy results in it being a 1-goal game. Shakeron well positioned, turned himself around rather than trying to rush the shot. Instead, lined himself up and powered that under the crossbar. Very smart gameplay from him.
Just catching the crowd yawning there. I'm sure they're not finding it boring, but it's going to be important now for Endpoint to really increase the excitement level in their play, because XL as a team, they're going to play quite slowly, which is why this game is yawn-worthy.
Oh, I absolutely believe that this can go the entire way.
Shakeron!
XL Why would you send that many players forward and they get caught out?
No way have they just let that happen. They were 2-0 up for so much of that game, and they've just thrown away the lead. It is now level going into the final moments. Will it happen in regulation time, or will Endpoint take it to overtime?
And Endpoint have already been playing a standard style. This now requires Excel to switch gears back into how they were playing to start off.
It's a chance.
As Karan puts that one straight down. Here comes the follow-up.
Cheerio!
It's on target! Excel have dropped the 2-0 lead.
They were ahead for so much of this game, and now we see Endpoint take it away in the final moments. In fact, in 0-second time. And it was Cheerio who read it off the backboard and sent it towards a very tough defensive positioned AFN on the goal line. And that is Endpoint stealing the lead in the last 30 seconds.
In order to make playoffs, you absolutely have to be able to dig deep in the crucial moments. And that is exactly what Endpoint did. There has been questions about them throughout this series, or throughout this entire tournament, about what they can do when they're in that tough situation, when they need to be clutch. They've struggled to answer that throughout this season. That was the first time we've really seen that they could make that comeback if they really need it.
Yeah, there were a few luckier goals for Excel where I feel like Endpoint really worked their goals. Actually, that one's Enzis. Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
That first one, though, give or take.
But then this booming shot from Chakaron, half rotating back in, recognizing a small window of opportunity to score. He did so. That one in his favor, just winning out the challenge. But that was just an overcommitment from Excel. When you're ahead with the final moments, keep someone back.
Get in your shell and turtle up. Lame out the game.
Indeed.
That's all you need to do in that scenario.
Oh, look at the gasps in the crowd. It was incredibly exciting in the final moments. To be honest, we were excited at those final few moments. You don't often see a turnaround that quickly. We've been quite lucky in this Elite Series that some of those final moment goals have really changed the game completely. And I think that is a prime example of why Rocket League is so tense right down to the final moments.
Oh, absolutely is. Well, a lot of the esports actually we've got on for Gfinity are not things that you can allow other factors to work away for you. You have to do the work yourself. You have to see out the rest of the series. Nothing is going to help you apart from yourself.
Exactly, as we have now got a clean sheet. 0-0 the score, everyone's points get reset. Who will be the one taking their team to victory in this game?
We brought it up to start off this series, just how important that first game was. But I was bringing that up without expecting it to be as mentally draining as losing a 2-goal lead. If you're Excel right now, how do you respond?
I mean, just got to be aggressive because they are leaving the ball to the final moment to defend as Cheerio launches himself in like a floppy fish. Just look how he comes in at this sideways. Just like, didn't look very controlled, but it was. He was just turning his car to send it down to the bottom right. An orthodox shooting way, but it was very, very well executed.
Well, as soon as he saw AFN on their goal line, he must have been saying to himself, anywhere but the center.
What on earth has AFN just done?
Why would you do that?
No, don't do that to us, AFN. You're meant to do that off the opposition backboard, not your own one. That's probably the best own goal we've seen in the Gfinity Elite Series.
And 6 foreheads just got slapped right there because Envious, who need Excel to be winning this series, that hurts them. That hurts them to their very soul.
Oh, what a shot!
But that right there is not an own goal. That right there is Cheerio world class.
Off the backboard, gets above it, uses his wheels to slow that ball down enough so that he can get the angle into the net. And somehow he calculated that one to go below the crossbar. Such good control. We see it every week. He shoots and he scores a lot of goals. And he's showing it again here against Excel, who are fighting, like you said, for Envious, who need them to win. Otherwise, Envious will not be making playoffs and it will be Endpoint taking their spot.
Cheerio wanted to put that one straight in the net. A trio of goals and we're not even 1 minute through the game. Excel have given themselves so much work to do, but they've got plenty of time to do it. But they need to try and find some way of being a lot more positive. Woody being on 0 boost is not going to help them, as he just has to watch as the rest of the play is done around him. So if you're Endpoint right now, they're starting to look very comfortable, not even necessarily prioritizing defense, just going for those style points.
Yeah, once you're 3-0 up, you can try stuff out. You can try making fancy goals. because you're expecting your opposition to be a little bit looser in their defense to try and make offensive opportunities. But to be honest, with XL, their factor that might get them the win here is that they're so hard to read. These aren't your normal high-level players. They do stuff in a very unorthodox way. Just like that, Wrong Way Woody completely missing the ball.
Double fake. It was a double fake.
It was a double fake. He'll claim it was a fake.
He will do that until his end breath in Rocket League. Everything is a fake, although this might be an opportunity. But that roll off that wall, way too high up. No one on XL even had a chance at shooting that one in.
But they still went.
They still went. They thought, you know what, Cheerio did it earlier, I can probably do this.
I mean, that's the key to top-level Rocket League, is knowing what you should go for. Because if you don't go for something, then that means you can get back to defense quicker, and someone who's in 100 boost in a much better position can come up, and a beautiful shot from Chacaron, defended away by Zenzus, who has been part of the starting roster for this XL team in previous weeks, and he'll show moments of brilliance like that just off the crossbar.
And going to your point about double commits, or even committing to a ball that you cannot win, especially if you commit to an aerial that you can't win, you're pushing yourself down to your opponent's end. It's going to take you at least 7 seconds, even if you've got full boost, just to put yourself back in your own net. Not only that, if you've got no boost, you're out for even longer. So it is that decision-making that ends up being so important in Rocket League. Cheerio!
What a
I'll tell you what,
read.
He just owns the air right now. Cheerio the Valkyrie, we'll now start calling him.
Just stole their boost, somehow gets that angle. Not only did he have to calculate the height the ball would bounce at, but he had to calculate the point which his car would intercept with it. And he just looks so calm. That kind of thing is exciting for the average player because you're just not expecting to be able to get it. For Cheerio, that's just everyday shooting situation for him.
And a notable difference in the endpoint attitudes. Usually when they're in this position, they're very cheerful, smiling, cracking jokes with one another, but as we just saw there, it is game face on today. And why not? You need to make sure that you finish off the job. As you can see, they've actually retracted away. They are no longer going for fancy plays. I think they realize, guys, we've been here before. Just keep playing serious. Do not drop our guard for even a second.
Yeah, and at this point, they are the most important team in the Gfinity Elite Series as to what happens in the future. That ball ricocheting off the crossbar, a double commit, and now AFN is backtracking with the ball. Tinny keeping that pressure on, and that's going to allow Chacaron to shoot off the inside of the post. That's bouncing up out of danger, and it will remain at 4-0 for a brief moment. Wrong Way Woody's shot saved away by Tinny, but tactically demoing Chacaron the way through. That's a very smart thing to do, and it might open up gaps in the future. They should definitely consider doing that. Was that a save from Wrong Way Woody?
Maybe. I try not to judge him anymore. I can analyze any player in Rocket League except for Woody.
Yeah, sometimes his brain doesn't really think about what he's planning to do, and more his fingers just do something.
Do you know what the worst part about Woody is?
What's the worst part about Woody?
Is that you can see a lot of things that he does wrong, but he'll get it right just enough that you can't complain about him too much.
Exactly. And he never makes anything majorly wrong happen. It just has a lot of kind of weird instances. Zenzus trying to air carry that one from the back wall, almost opening it up for AFN, but it will be a clean sheet, I think, here for Endpoint as they are now on the breakaway. Cheerio already up for that pass, and he does follow through. Just beautiful from him. Chacaron getting the playmaker, been so vital to their assists here. Oh, just beautiful. Everything about what Cheerio does just looks so deliberate and so in control.
And this is such good news right now for Endpoint. We saw earlier on their manager is in attendance, and the manager will know, as well as everyone else, that the last time Endpoint had a bad streak, it lasted for 2 weeks. That was when they only scored 1 goal within 2 weeks of play. They couldn't afford 2 weeks of bad play this time around. And with a result like that, convincing 5-0, they are well on their way to the playoffs.
Yes, and it is that first game that really swung the momentum back in their favor. The fact they snuck that victory when 2-0 down, that's a huge benefit for them because then they know they can do it. As soon as you start getting behind on games, you start thinking, what happens if we have another loose game or another loose game? Whereas now they've got 3 games to win it in, 3 opportunities to get themselves into the playoffs, as that's all that matters for them right now.
Certainly could be, and for you, that was a very lopsided game we saw just there. how much did that first game play into that? Because that was very close and got stolen away from them. Do you feel like that might have affected this?
Yeah, and to be honest, XL themselves, I've never really looked like they're going to absolutely destroy Endpoint, but when they're in a 2-0 position, they look like they might be able to hold it off. So the key for XL against Endpoint is to get ahead, but that's a hard thing to ask for. I think it was kind of fluky for them in that first game, and so the fact that Endpoint were able to come back from a deficit, that's the key. They know they can come back from a deficit, so if they suddenly find themselves in another one, then that's important, because then they know they can do it again.
Certainly can agree with that, and the way I'm looking at this right now is that despite the fact that we are now 2-0, because of the way that first game went, XL have actually had 4 good minutes, but on the other hand, Endpoint have had 6. But the important one is one of those minutes belonged to the end of that first game, where they just completely brought it back. And that's important right now because we look at this. Envious are now 1 game away, despite taking out our leaders in Infuse, the unbeaten leaders until today. They're 1 game from being eliminated.
That is very true. Envious will be watching very nervous now as they want to be back in the playoffs. They are good enough to be back in the playoffs. They've beaten the #1 team in the Rocket League Gfinity Elite Series. But it's those inconsistent weeks where you lose out games that you shouldn't have done that might be the difference.
So XL, they've had plenty of time to try and shake off the cobwebs. They need to pull off what Reason pulled off last week and create a reverse sweep to take down Endpoint. Oh, that is going to make it very difficult. Endpoint playing some stellar Rocket League.
You just see that gap on the right side of the goal for Chacaron. He had everything to aim at there. Wrong Way Woody was stationary just in front of him, so he could have aimed at either side, to be honest. But that is so important, being gifted those opportunities for a great pass, that you have a 100% situation. You know what I mean? Where you can just shoot it and know that it's going to go in.
And that's what those passing plays often do. Just create so much space. It makes it very difficult for the defending players, especially if they are backwards like Woody was.
Yeah, and you'll probably find Woody was expecting a shot from the passer.
Yes.
And so he was caught off guard by the pass finding another player. And that's why it's so key, and that's why Method, who we saw earlier on today, are so dangerous in offense, because they just pass when there isn't 100% shots, and it creates an opportunity for someone else to get a guaranteed goal.
Oh, a lot of commitment there from XL. The opportunity is there for Endpoint, but that pass out, not enough angle on it to push it across. And FN, he wants to go for this. He ran out of boost and also failed to steal. So it's going to mean he's going to take a very long time to get back, but thankfully Tinny was not able to get control of the ball. Early shot from Zentus, and that somehow managed to sneak in. I thought the defender was right on top of that.
Yeah, you just see Zentus looking like he's about to start an air dribble, and Chacaron was expecting a little bit of a slower carry towards the net, but at the final moments that his dodge was about to run out, because you get 1.5 seconds when you're in the air to be able to get a second movement where you create a lot of power like that, and just at the final moments before that ran out, he launched himself towards that ball, created a lot of acceleration, and sent it in just above Chacaron, testing his reaction time.
So we are back into this match. Envious for the time being are not out. Zenzus will try and take this the entire way yet again. But off screen was not able to turn that into the net. Here comes Cheerio looking for the set. Woody unable to get contacts, and that will cost them. Do not make mistakes against Endpoint. They will punish.
Yeah, and at this point, they know what Wrong Way Woody is capable of. They know he's going to go for the ball and probably miss it. So Chacaron just continues flying and goes for it anyway. And that is a crucial miss for Wrong Way Woody. He'll be annoyed at his decision to fake it, as he would say.
And a bit of a smile there from Endpoint. Is that them saying right there, you know what, lads? We've got this.
They'll be feeling confident. They were probably feeling confident last week when Reason were 2-0 down against them. But it was that Reason team who shocked them with the reverse sweep. Can XL do it here today?
Cheerio!
Not when Cheerio's doing that. What on earth?
Actually real with me right now, Cheerio.
What on earth has Cheerio just created? That angle is insane.
He just broke physics. Well done, Cheerio. Give him a quick clap for that one, because he just broke physics with that shot.
I genuinely don't know how he could have known that was going to be an opportunity to score. I don't know whether he was trying to pass it and it just happened to go in. I really don't know what world you would think to do that. But Cheerio just creates a beautiful goal, and that puts Endpoint 3-1 up. It's vital not only because it's a beautiful goal, but because it's probably going to secure this game for them.
XL have got so much work to do, and with Cheerio red hot right now, it's going to make it even more difficult. You can't even look towards XL and say, you know what, they can get 3 in a row, because they also can't afford to concede anything. Oh, that goes off that side. Now Cheerio with a long ball over to Tinny, who puts that one very high. But Endpoint, they won't care about that right now. They know they don't need any more goals.
They'll want them, though.
Of course they'll want them. It's about the opportunity to make a statement. Because if they are to win this, then they will be taking on Team Infused next week in the semifinals. And a wounded Team Infused at that.
Yeah, I genuinely believe Endpoint could give Infused a run for their money.
Especially if Cheerio plays like this.
Yeah, they were the... Was that when Infused didn't concede a single goal against Endpoint, or was that Envious? Envious didn't concede a single goal to Endpoint. Infused only concede one goal to Endpoint, but I think that'll be a very different story now, because Endpoint have had a lot of time to train together because they're living together, so they've had a lot of practice as a unit, and it's really showing in these later weeks how much they've improved.
I think that's exactly why Endpoint are playing as well as they are right now. You've got to go back home and live with each other. You're damn right you want to get yourselves a win.
I mean, AFN and Woody are brothers, so I'm sure they live together, but I don't know if
Being brothers are at each other's throat anyway, but Cheerio once again, ball control at its best. And he is going to slot himself in yet another 2 goals for him.
That ball looked like it was stuck to the roof of his car as he carried it towards the net. Just recognized a small window of opportunity to guide the ball towards the goal and took it on a lead, walked it towards the net and finished it off for himself. 4-1 the score now. And I think Endpoint will be feeling very confident going forward, as they are very strong, they are very scary when they're playing well, and they score a lot of goals.
Yeah, and Excel looking all over the place right now. Chacaron looked to pass it over to Cheerio, but did get challenged at the very last second. Very aggressive rotation from Endpoint as well, not allowing their opponents to come out from their half. Hat-trick here over Cheerio, and what a time to do it.
I think he got a hat-trick in the last game as well. He is just scoring goals for fun now. Point-blank range, centered over the top of Wrong Way Woody, and that is Cheerio's 3rd this game, I think 7th in this series. He's just been on top of the goal scoring for Endpoint this whole series. Obviously those first 2 weeks they didn't score many, but since then it has been Cheerio the man to find the net.
So he's right up there with Magnus's incredible display against Reason for the most amount of goals in one series. Magnus obviously scoring 10 during them, so I highly doubt he's going to be able to catch up to that. But the most important thing for Endpoint is they did not make this dramatic. And as a neutral viewer, you won't be too happy with that. But as an Endpoint player, as an Endpoint fan, you could not be happier.
Yes, that first game was very closely going to XL until the final moments where Endpoint started to play as they have shown they can play, and it continued from that point forward. We saw 11 minutes of Endpoint beautiful quality playing, and that means they will be going on to our playoffs as seed number 3, taking over Epsilon with that win. That is a huge win for Endpoint, not only for the position, but for the confidence.
Absolutely, and I actually took a look over there. Endpoint managers shared themselves a cheeky little fist bump right there. They know that they are very happy with this. So that does confirm next week, Team Infused versus Endpoint and Method are going to take on Epsilon in a game that Epsilon said earlier they wanted the run back on.
Yeah, we saw that earlier today. Method versus Epsilon, it went very heavily in favor of Method, but with players like Tylacto and Flame coming in, Epsilon might be feeling a little bit more confident with that. But it was a wonderful performance. This game here, we saw Endpoint score goal after goal after goal, and there were just some quality, powerful shots which are so tough to defend.
Yeah, Chacaron got himself caught out right there, but that was as dramatic as this was going to get. As Endpoint, shot after shot. Chacaron obviously played his part, but Cheerio, when you are playing on that sort of form, you would be insulted if you did not go on to win.
Well played to Endpoint, and it's been great to see them mature, especially players like Chacaron and Tinny. We don't really hear much from Cheerio, he doesn't speak very often, but Tinny and Chacaron have been lacking a lot of confidence when they're speaking to everyone, but now they're so serious when they play. They're so positive in their mindset, which is so different to when they first came here and they're like, let's hope we score a goal. Let's hope we go on stage and we play all right. It's great to see that maturity come through for them. What an experience it's been for Endpoint.
And it's been so important for them. They've had such an up and down season. Towards the beginning, a little bit in the middle ground, then just ground to a halt those 2 weeks where they just could not get any goals. But since then, it has been up and up and up until they hit that roadblock last week.
Yeah, Reason shocked them a little bit, but now they are secured in the playoffs. They came third. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season, Endpoint are third seed going into the playoffs? And they had a tough start to the season, but then they finished well with that XL win, and they'll be very proud of that. But I know that Cole and Stumpy were pretty excited at a few of those goals in there. Tom, let's find out what they thought.
Thank you very much, Gregan. I was excited as well, actually, so let's not forget me as well. But yeah, some great goals there. And we were talking about the angles in which Cheerio was belting in a few goals. I mean, Gregan kept saying the word, you know, quality, powerful shots were coming in. They meant business and they got the job done, didn't they?
Yeah, they were very quality, they were very powerful, and they were very shots. Those are 3 words that I can agree with there. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic, mate. Cheerio was just finding negative angles all over the place, like coming off the corner wall by their goal from the more hand
I was thinking more hands, I like it.
Ball coming up, just coming to I was speechless apart from a roar.
Yes, and Cole, it really enjoyed the play, unfortunately, because XL looked like they might get game 1.
XL were absolutely brilliant for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and then as soon as the first Endpoint goal came in, it was just a collapse. And after Endpoint came back and won the first game, XL weren't in it at all.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because XL did anything less than we were expecting. It's just that Endpoint did what we were expecting. And
yeah,
really
I mean, Cheerio getting that many goals, he goes straight through to the sort of top 4 leading goal scorers. He joins the likes of Metsonorus, Magnus and Doomsy, which is pretty good for him. But this is the first game that we had where XL had taken that lead. And AFN not getting the email, the memo to just lose, but he could have a bit of a fight there, didn't they?
Well, the first goal was really scrappy, but the second one was a really, really good finish from Zenzus. But then with 29 seconds left, they concede the first, and then that overcommit, I was in the crowd, and as soon as all 3 XL players were up, you just knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to be an open goal, and you backed them to get the buzzer beater, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought that buzzer beater, as soon as it was staying up and just working its way down the pitch, I was terrified. I was hiding behind my hands.
And explain buzzer beater to everyone.
So buzzer beater, Rocket League, the game does not end until the ball hits the floor. So it hits 0 seconds. If the ball is in the air, the game will not end. So the players, it's rule 1 of Rocket League.
Yeah, and it's hand actions as well.
You keep the ball up.
Let's have more, Stumpy.
You keep the ball up, so then as soon as the ball hits the floor, that's when the game ends. So if you're drawing, you're going to gradually work it down the pitch. That's exactly what they did. It was exactly what Endpoint did, and it was beautiful.
So what happened in game 2 then?
In game 2,
it fell apart for XL.
Yeah, pretty much, because Endpoint just started doing what they could do. I actually saw the XL players. We cut to see their faces in between the games. They weren't talking very much. I'm pretty sure that first collapse knocked the stuffing out of them. If you looked at it, there was no talking. Oh, and the own goal as well. It's absolutely really beautiful. But yeah, it was just a case of Endpoint doing what they can do. These reads of the backboard that XL didn't back them to do. You know, you saw AFN in goal there. He did not back the Endpoint player. Was it Cheerio?
It's Cheerio.
He did not back Cheerio to connect with that ball so solidly, and that's why he wasn't in a great defensive position.
Yeah.
And we saw that happen time and time again.
That last goal from Cheerio as well, being in the air and just sort of gliding. Yeah. Like a beautiful glider on a lovely summer's day. Not really thinking about Rocket League, but, you know, definitely delivered with a well-taken goal from him. And then we move into that third game, which was always played for, and I was willing on XL to give us a bit more of a fight in this one, but it didn't happen.
Well, after an early goal for Endpoint, XL equalised with about 3.5 minutes left, but unfortunately they weren't able to do much more. And then as soon as Cheerio goes up there, I said earlier
that's incredible.
I said earlier that the XL teammates, the XL players didn't back the reads of the back to be that good. I don't think any player in Rocket League would have backed that shot from Cheerio to be that powerful. So no blame at all to the XL goalkeeper there, which was Woody. It's just so quality, so much quality from it.
That's the difference you see between these kind of teams. That just going from XL versus Endpoint, XL did not expect Endpoint to do half of the stuff it ended up doing. Like you saw one of the goals, Woody went to the corner, and I think it was Cheerio, caught it on his hood and just drove perfectly round him. It was so nice. Whereas I think most people, most sort of lower level, sort of low champ to diamond level players would have thought, okay, he's going to go up the wall here, I'll meet him there. No, just catches it, drives around towards the goal, scores.
It's beautiful. As you can see there from the top 4 places, Team Infuse, then we had Method, now we have Endpoint in that 3rd place, and then we have Epsilon in 4th place. Listen, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. We normally bring out just 1 player, but today we thought 3 is the magic number. So we will bring out the whole team from Endpoint, Shakaran, Tinny and Cheerio. Yeah. There you go, brother. There you go, Cheerio. He knows his way around the Rocket League pitch, but I'm going to put you there. Take a seat there. That was. I thought you were squaring up to each 1 second there. Take a seat there. Just stand there, Cheerio. You've got this. Listen, I'm coming to you. You know I'm coming to you, the goal machine. There's that cheeky smile. Listen, Shakaran, you were very humble in the way you were talking about Reason before, but you didn't hold back on Excel, did you? Straight away getting that early goal.
Well, we tried. Like we never mean to throw away games and things like that. But like that first game, they definitely gave us a game, and they've got to be proud of that.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, you looked very confident while you're up there and actually getting a few goals yourself. Now, I've heard from Tinny before, he likes to make sure that he sort of hogs the ball so you don't get to score. But today he let you have a few goals. You must be happy with your performance.
Yeah, well, if I can chip in on goals, then that's good for me. But I like to keep things ticking along, you know. They keep hold of the ball, let these guys take their shots. If I can just put a good pass in their path, then that's what I'll do. But I think I played well today. Now,
I know for a fact, Tinny, when we were backstage and you were getting some practicing in, you kept looking over at the screen watching the match between Envious and Infused, and they didn't help you out, did they, Envious? They were supposed to lose, and that would have made it easier for this last match.
Yeah, I told Doomsy, you know, make it easy on us and win the game, but he wouldn't let, he wouldn't let us. He made us, try and get the win, didn't give us the free spot in playoffs, but we earned it fair and square, happy with that.
And before I come to this man, who seems to be taking a lot of shots and scoring some incredible goals, you're going to be now taking on Infuse. So the guy that didn't allow you an easy day today, Doomsy, what's going to be your mindset going into that match?
If I remember the series correctly before, it wasn't actually that one-sided, even though we lost every single game. I think it was 4 goals to 1. So I think after the time we've had together and stuff, we'll probably be going in pretty confident, especially the way Cheerio's playing recently.
Yeah, and just for everybody at home or wherever you may be, you guys live together. I mean, be honest with me, how sick of you of his face looking at every single time when he scores a goal? Because his celebrations are quite cheeky. He doesn't do too much, does he, Cheerio?
It's exactly the same at home. I'm sick of it.
I love it. Listen, I'll come to you, Cheerio. How on earth were you scoring those goals at such acute angles?
Just hit the ball, I guess. Just hope it goes in. Mostly just trying to play loose and have fun.
Yeah. And I have to say, getting into the top 4 leading goal scorers now, is there part of you that wants to sort of score as many goals as Magnus, try and aim for him?
Well, that's what I was trying to do today, but not quite enough to be the #1 though. I'll just stick with whatever place I'm at right now.
Yeah, and looking at Infused, after they lost their first game today, you're going to play them next week. You must feel a little bit confident because their confidence has been dented.
Yeah, I think we're going to do well against Infused. They look shattered. And yeah, I think we can have a good chance of beating them.
Okay, perfect. They look shattered. You heard it here first. Listen, gentlemen, congratulations on the win. You've made it through to the playoffs. We look forward to seeing you next week.
I'm here with Wrong Way Woody, and well, where did it all go wrong, Woody?
Last 1 minute of the first game, that's when it basically all went wrong. Yeah.
Basically, when they got a goal, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
What happened to you as a team? Was the communications down, or was it because, your brother admitted he was just a little bit tired today?
Not really sure where it went wrong. I think as soon as we won conceded the first goal, we were like, oh. I think it might have even happened before that when we went 2-0 up, because we were thinking we're probably not going to win this series. So then we were like, oh, we can actually win this series.
Yeah.
They were like, oh dear, there's pressure now, because we came with no pressure, and it was like, oh no.
Well, you've not made it into the playoffs, but there are 4 teams that are going to be in the playoffs next weekend. What are your predictions on that?
I think all games will be close. I don't think we'll see any sweeps in the finals because all the top 4 teams made it, so it should be close games. I think Infused will be Endpoint and Method will be Epsilon, and then Method will win the final.
So you're saying it's going to be Method that are going to win the series?
If they're playing with their strongest roster, yes.
If not?
Probably not. I know Tylacta will be playing, so...
Well, talking about Tylacta, he said that you were his saviour.
I'm sorry if I let you down, Tylacta.
Oh, did he let you down? No, say no. Just say no. We're live on TV. Just say no. He never do that. That's it. What other player of yours, like, what do you take from this experience of this series? Just sheer disappointment.
Once I get over the disappointment, I can probably take some things, but we were 2-0 up, so that is something. For other games, I don't think I should reflect on too much because it didn't go well.
Do you think you can come back for Series 2?
Hopefully, if XL want me. I'm willing to come back, so...
Yeah. XL, you've heard it here. You've heard it here now. Well, thanks so much, Vinny. We hope to see you in Season 2.
Thank you.
So here we are then in this final match of the day. It was all to play for Endpoint. They needed to get this win, so they secured that playoff spot. But Excel, unfortunately, just couldn't do enough to make it happen for Envious getting into that playoffs. But you know what? It's happened. Endpoint were the winners. They look pretty confident. In their words, they've said that Infused look shattered. There is a phrase that we haven't heard often. Listen, we go through to the semi-finals now in a week's time. These are the fixtures. Because Team Infused finished first and Endpoint finished third, they play each other. And then Method taking on Epsilon. A very exciting little match, that one, of Team Infused and Endpoint. Before we get to that, let's talk about Method and Epsilon. A big match there, Cole and Stumpy. What are going to be the highlights? What are the things to look out for in that match?
I'm going to go for that one then.
Yeah, go on. What's that say?
Method, passing. Method are so good at passing, and not just like lofting the ball to each other and sort of ping-ponging it a bit sort of around the pitch. They will absolutely boom it downfield, and then someone else will boom it into the net, and you won't have time to think. You'll just sort of see like someone up the side, you're like, okay, they'll be fine. And the ball just goes bam, bam, past you, you're like, okay, I guess we're 1-0 down then.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
It's going to be a great game. Cole, I'm going to get your viewpoint on this. Before that, though, wait, there's a little pause, a little bit of suspense. You've got all that suspense, hold it. Ariel is right now with the manager of Endpoint.
I am indeed. I'm joined by Adam and Peter, both part of Endpoint. Now, one thing I want to ask you about, because Endpoint have done it, they're through into the playoffs. When this first started, loads of people were saying the fact that they are living together was just going to really, really help them as a team. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we wanted to do, give them the opportunity to try and, improve their gameplay and live together and try and take that synergy and make it happen here, at the Gfinity event. And so far, I'm happy to say that that's obviously proved worthy. And, they've done great over the course of this season. I'm really proud of them. And it's great to see them in the playoffs.
Pete, I need to ask you, because the beginning of that game had nail-biting. Are you glad that they pulled through in the end?
Oh, definitely. I think that gave them great confidence for games 2 and 3. I still had confidence even though they lost that game. So it was just they needed to get in front, I felt. Calm the nerves, yeah.
I love that. So do we think Endpoint can go on to win it?
Absolutely. Like Tinia said earlier, it's a close game against Infused, and I'm fairly confident in them. So
love that. Thanks, Adam.
So there you have it. Adam's very happy about that, I'm sure, as he looks to the Elite Series franchise as well. He's come down to support his boys. Cole, that matchup is going to be a repeat then. Epsilon versus Method. How are you seeing that one go in the semi-finals next week?
Well, Epsilon got beaten fairly convincingly by Method today, so we're going to see next week if they can shake that off and figure out over the course of a week what they can do to beat a Method team that's looking dominant against all they come up against to me.
But obviously, those two players that are going to be vital for Method aren't going to be here. The two goal scorers, although today Alot stepped up and got 4 goals, but they're going to be without their goal scorer, so there's a chance for Epsilon.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a different team that they're going to come up against next week, so if that means that they're going to play differently towards them, or if they're going to be sort of continuing the same play style that they've been going with, that's yet to see. But I think that might give them more confidence that they're not playing the same team that did 3-0 them today. Quite, like I said, convincingly as well.
OK, I'll take a prediction quickly from, just keep it nice and simple, Cole. Who is going to be in that final? Is it going to be Infused Epsilon, Infused Method, or is it going to be Endpoint getting through to the final?
The final will be Infused against Method.
Will be?
Wow.
Wow, it's not even I reckon it will.
I have spoken.
I am going to say the same as Cole. It will be an Infused Method win.
Perfect.
Final.
Well, listen, Cole, thank you very much, and thank you very much to Stumpy. Listen, so that's it for now. The Rocket League regular season is over, but 4 teams have kept their Elite Series dream alive. Congratulations to Team Infuse, Method, Epsilon Esports, and of course, Endpoint. It's no exaggeration to say it's been a fantastic season, full of excitement, drama, and of course, goals. If the regular season is anything to go by, the playoffs will be unmissable. See you next week.
And it's game faces on for Prophecy. They are not messing around. The team to beat at the moment in the Gfinity Elite Series is Method.
This will be Infused's first loss of the entire Elite Series.
Very aggressive rotation from Endpoint as well. Hat-trick here over Cheerio, and what a time to do it!